What? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Bhakti Shastri class, sorry, Brahmachari class. To all the devotees, thank you very much for allowing me to share some thoughts on Bhagavad Gita and also for joining today's class. Okay. So, about 3 weeks back, we just started this particular portion from 18th chapter, wherein the summary of entire Bhagavad Gita is briefly presented by Lord Sri Krishna. So, if you see, here we have the titles of all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. And very briefly, if you see, in the first chapter, Arjuna poses so many questions, expressing his reluctance to take part in the battlefield. And in the beginning of the second chapter, he actually indicates that it is better for me to go to forest and live by begging than taking part in the battle and killing our respectable personalities like Bhishma, Drona, Pramukata, etc. So then, in order to give the proper understanding of what is to be done and what is not to be done, Lord Krishna explains the essence of all the Vedic literatures in 5 verses. Verse number 11 to 15, which is nothing but the essence of all the Vedas and also the essence of Bhagavad Gita. But still, Arjuna was not convinced. So Lord Krishna elaborates the meaning of these 5 verses in the rest of the chapter 2. From Lord Krishna's point of view, Bhagavad Gita is over. But from Arjuna's point of view, he was not clear of the subject matter. He was not completely cleared of the subject matter being discussed. So he poses some questions. In order to answer those questions, Lord Krishna elaborately explains the most popular processes that are being followed by the people in general, in the society outside, everywhere, for the purpose of perfecting their lives. So starting from chapter 3, all the way up to chapter 6, Lord Krishna speaks about the most popularly followed path of perfection, which we generally call as yoga ladder. People in the mode of ignorance, they generally perform sinful activities, which are called as vikarmic activities. People in the mode of passion, they generally perform activities for the purpose of their own sense gratification, which can be called as sakarma, sakarmic activities. But those people who are in the mode of goodness, they perform activities for the purpose of purifying their heart. And with the purification of the heart, they understand the importance of attaining liberation. Then they endeavor to attain liberation. So what are the different ways and means they follow in order to come to this point? They are all summarily explained from chapter 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 6, wherein Lord Krishna very nicely talks about what is sakama karma, what is nishkama karma in general when people perform. But when they want to attain perfection, they perform nishkama karma yoga, eventually which leads to the performance of jnana yoga. Then taking shelter of Ashtanga yoga, they will endeavor to attain liberation or mukti. That is popularly followed path. But in order to give more important understanding of how to attain perfection, which is followed by few people, Lord Krishna introduces bhakti in the 7th chapter and talks about different variety of people who follow bhakti and how they gradually attain perfection. Explained introduced in the 7th chapter, and 8th chapter in a way summarizes how the people who are following the traditional path of perfection and how the people who are following the path of bhakti attain perfection. That is being indicated in the chapter 8. So chapter 3 to chapter 8 is the elaborate explanation of what Lord Krishna mentioned in the chapter 2, which is elaboration of the 5 verses in the beginning of chapter 2. So then chapter 9, 10, 11, 12, Lord Krishna elaborates on the path of bhakti. Then chapter 13 to 18, Lord Krishna elaborates on the path of jnana. That's how the remaining chapters continue on. So In the last class, we discussed about first 10 verses from chapter 18, from verse number 41 to 49, 50. So as we just mentioned that chapter 9 to 12 are elaboration of bhakti, 13 to 18 chapter all the way up to verse number 40 are the elaboration of jnana. If you just recollect, in the 13th chapter, Lord Krishna talks about six items: Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Prakriti, Purusha, Atma, Paramatma. What are the characteristics and the nature of these 6 items? Kshetra is nothing but our body or the world in general, or Prakriti in more specific way. Kshetrajna is Atma and Paramatma, which is Atma is Jiva, Paramatma is Ishvara. So in a way, broadly, Lord Krishna introduces the concepts of what is Prakriti, what is Jiva, who is Jiva, who is the controller of both, Ishvara. Ishvara is controlling Jiva and Prakriti as Paramatma. So a relationship among these 3 and what they are, who they are, how they are manifest in this world, a brief introduction is given. And how Prakriti keeps Jiva under action. How Prakriti binds Jiva in this material world. And how Prakriti enables Jiva to attain liberation also. All those things are explained in the future chapters. Chapter 14 talks about Prakriti manifestation in the form of 3 modes: Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. How the activities are, people perform various activities under the influence of 3 modes. Chapter 15 talks about Prakriti manifesting in the form of the material universe, comparing it to a banyan tree. And chapter 16 talks about the fruits of that banyan tree in the form of Daiva Sampatti and Asura Sampatti, demonic and divine nature. And chapter 17 talks about how these 3 modes influences people to acquire a particular belief system, particular faith. Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. And chapter 18 talks about how our different activities, starting with activity, including intelligence, determination, and so many other things, our food, our other, so many other things, how they are getting influenced by 3 modes of material nature. Everything that we are associated with is influenced by 3 modes. So a proper understanding of all those things, how we are living in this world, with what we are surrounded by, and how they are influenced by 3 modes, and how they are influencing us in performing our activities and making choices. Everything is in a way is introduced in these chapters. This is nothing but the elaboration of the Jnana section, which is required for the Jnanis. They need to understand about how the 24 elements function in this material world, and also Pradhana, which comes in the form of 3 modes of material nature. That is the important subject matter of Sankhya philosophy. So now, in the 18th chapter, Lord Krishna is going to summarize everything that he had explained till now. So, wherein subject is introduced in such a way that there is not anything, that means everything in this world, no living species or non-living thing, which is free from the 3 gunas, Varna, Prakriti. Everything that is living or non-living comes under the influence of 3 modes of material nature, as long as they are existing in this material world. Everything in existence is composed of 3 gunas. The meaning in this section 13.1 to 18.40 is that sattvic items are acceptable and those of rajas and tamas are not. The proper analysis of all the different things being influenced by 3 modes is given to help us understand that we need to select the items under sattva, not under rajas or tamas. If at all we develop a desire to attain purification of the heart and perfection, otherwise no problem. If one want to live in this world, they can go through with tamas or rajas. But if at all those who want to attain perfection, they need to take shelter of sattvic items. So how by taking shelter of sattvic items one can attain perfection? So that is kind of hinted in the next portion. Though all things are composed of the 3 gunas, if the 4 varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, perform their prescribed varnashrama duties with the thought of worshipping the Lord, those activities will produce steadiness in jnana and lead to liberation. As a person being born in this universe, being living in this universe as part of varnashram system, by executing the varnashram duties as an offering to Supreme Lord, eventually one can attain liberation, the perfection of one's existence. So how that can be done, Lord Krishna elaborates in the coming verses. The living body filled with the three gunas becomes successful by worshipping the Supreme Lord by prescribed activities according to the person's nature. This is described in 6 verses, 41 to 46. So that anyway we have discussed, this is the kind of introduction. So the duties of Brahmana are introduced in verse number 42. What Brahmana does, Samo Dhamma Tapas Saucham Shanti Arjam Yavacha, Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Svavajam. So all these activities are born along with their birth in those Brahmanical person. And then the activities of a Kshatriya are also mentioned in the next verse. So next verse says that Shauryam Tejo Dhruti Daksham Yuddhe Chapi Apalayanam Danam Ishvara Bhavascha Shatram Karma Svabhavajam. So one interesting thing is that Brahmanas by nature they are predominantly situated in Sattva-guna. Kshatriyas by nature they are predominantly situated in passion and they also possess some Sattva-guna secondarily. And then Vaishyas. Vaishyas by nature they are predominantly situated in Rajoguna and they also possess some Tamoguna. And Shudras are predominantly in Tamoguna. That's how the 4 modes are connected with 4 Varnas. Krushi Goraksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Sabhavajam. This is the qualities and activities of Vaishyas. Paricharyatmakam Karma Shudrasyapi Sabhavajam. Activities of Shudras. Yes, bro.
You told earlier that when one performs prescribed duty, that leads to jnana.
Yes.
There is knowledge, understanding, and realization. That I know it something, but I know and understand, and actually I experience. So this jnana, where performing prescribed duty leads to jnana, come under what? Realization, understanding.
Jnanam, Jnayam, Jnanagamam, which are mentioned in the beginning of this chapter, if you remember. Verse number 12, 13 introduces Jnanam, the process of knowledge, Jnayam, the object of knowledge, Jnanagamam, the goal of knowledge. These 3 constitute the sadhana called Jnana. That entire thing is explained now in this section. So all 3 put together is called Jnana. Your Jnana is not just knowledge. It is sadhana called Jnana. The Jnana is whatever sadhana they follow. That thing constitutes 3 divisions. Jnanam, Jnayam, Jnanagamam. All 3 put together part of that Jnana.
Those persons are qualified to perform that Jnana process.
Those who practice karma and they attain the purification of the heart, then they are qualified to practice Jnana. It is step-by-step process. So we'll discuss. Today we are going to discuss about Jnana. So as it is mentioned in this section. So now we have seen 3 verses talking about the activities of the 4 Varnas. Brahmana in the mode of goodness, Kshatriya in the mode of goodness mode of passion come goodness, Vaishya in the mode of passion come ignorance, Shudra in the mode of ignorance. So these 4 are performing activities. Where and when they are performing activities? In gross order. From Varna point of view, you have 4 Varnas. From Ashrama point of view, while they are executing all these activities, they are situated in Grihastha Ashram. Or as a Grihastha, they are performing all these Varna activities. Ashrama is Grihastha, Varna is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Accordingly, their activities are mentioned. So, activities are mentioned. Now the question is, by doing these activities, how do they attain perfection of Karma Yoga? So, now this is called Karma Yoga. Rendering one's Varnashram duties is called Karma. So, how that becomes Yoga, now we'll see. So a person might perform their varna duties or ashrama duties with a desire to get the results and enjoy. That kind of mentality makes that karma as sakama karma or fruitive activities, as Prabhupada translates always. Because they are performing their allocated, obligated duties with an intention to enjoy the results. That particular performance is called sakama karma. But by good fortune, when they come to mode of goodness, then they understand that, so I need to purify my heart. I need to become free from all material, selfish, motivated desires. Then that karma becomes nishkama karma. They are attached to perform their varna duties and ashrama duties, but they are not attached to enjoy the results. The detachment makes them as nishkama karmis. So now how that nishkama karma becomes nishkama karma yoga, that is explained in the next 2 verses. So now these prescriptions are the representative of the activities of 4 ashramas, not an exhaustive list. Now the result of, this is actually correction, this is 4 varnas, not ashramas. Now the result of performing these activities is described. Svesve karmani abhirata samsiddhim labate nara. The people in general, according to their varna, when they perform their activities in a particular fashion, they can attain perfection of karma yoga. Not the perfection completely in total, not about mukti. They will attain the perfection of their karma yoga by performing their activities in a particular fashion. How? Swa karmana nirata siddhim yata vindati tashrunu. Now I will tell you how they can attain perfection of their karma yoga. Please listen. Mike. In general, Mike.
We say Jnanis.
No Jnanis, karma only.
In general, they attain Sai Mukti. So what about the Samsiddhi Labate Nara? What is that general liberation?
Wait. Be hold on. These activities give rise to knowledge. The perfection of karma yogis is qualification to practice jnana.
Samsiddhi means they will attain.
They become qualified to practice jnana. That is the perfection of karma yoga. Those who pass 10th class, they don't become engineers. They become qualified to study intermediate, 11, 12. At the end of the 12th, when they write MCET exam, now it is JEE, they become qualified to enter into engineering college and they can study engineering. It's like step by step. That's why it is called yoga ladder. Ek ke baad ek. So like that. Engaging in activity prescribed according to one's varna and ashrama, the performer attains steadiness in jnana. Samsiddhi refers to steadiness in jnana. They becomes qualified to practice jnana. A person without passing through 10th class can enter into intermediate by shortcuts or something, by influence or something. But they may not be able to study inter properly. If they go through subjects of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th classes properly, then they can do well in the intermediate. Because they have studied so much in the school, they can do nicely in the college. If you jump from 5th to intermediate first year, they will not be able to do it properly. Something like that. Chod the bhakti, no bhakti. Bhakti 56th verse. This is traditional process, which manifests from within the activities, like a lotus flower arises from its root in the mud. Why it is compared with a lotus flower? There is a conception comes in the 12th chapter of the 3rd canto Bhagavatam. When Lord Brahma created the 4 Kumaras, Lord Brahma requested 4 Kumaras one thing. What was that? Matlab? What was the request by Brahma unto 4 Kumaras? How they should procreate? How they will procreate? Huh? Then get married and beget children. What did the Kumaras say? Why? Why Kumaras did not follow the order of Lord Brahma? No, Anna, they have not given analogy. Just please. Complication of Grasa. Or? Directly. So they say that as a grasa, one need to practice karma yoga. After achieving perfection of karma yoga, then they become jnana yogis. So they are already situated in the platform of jnanis. But the problem with karma yoga is that there is a danger of bondage. One need to be highly careful not to become bound. Otherwise, karma yoga always shows so many temptations because of which one can become bound. The Kumaras give the reason that there is a danger of bondage in karma yoga. So we do not want to get into household order. We directly want to get into renunciation. To practice jnana and to teach jnana to others. Yes, Prabhu.
चतुर कुमार को जब वो रोजनी आगे बढ़ाने के लिए बोलते हैं तो by that time गृहस्थ आश्रम मतलब there was no creation of female body.
But eventually it will happen, na? 4 Kumaras. Afterwards, Lord Rudra was created. Afterwards, 10 Manasaputras were created. Okay? Vashishta, Pulaha, Prutu, Kratu, including Narada Muni. And afterwards, many were created. Eventually, at the end, Swayambhu, Manu, and Saturupa were created. Then the family life started. Swayambhu, Manu, Saturupa married, begot children. How many children? 5. आप 6th वाला है क्या? 5 children. Priyavrata, Uttanapada, Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti. Akuti was given in marriage to Ruchi. Devahuti was given in marriage to Kardama. And Prasuti was given in marriage to Daksha. Devahuti begot 9 daughters, 1 son. The 9 daughters were given in marriage to 9 sons of Brahma. Eventually they got married. If Kumaras also wanted to become Grihasthas, they would have married eventually. May not be that day, but few years later. So that facility is already predetermined.
I was just thinking that like Brahma created these Kumaras and others for the Manas Putra. So maybe like they were expecting to create progeny to the Manas only.
Yeah, they can do like that, but that cannot continue for long run. So mind creation only for some time. So this is study creation. This goes on throughout the day of Brahma. In the beginning of the day, Brahmaji created through mind the important living entities. Then the rest all are continuing through procreation. That is the Sushti Niyam. So in that way, through mind creations can take place, but may not be last long. 6th canto also talks about the same thing. After Chakshusha Manvantara, when there was Pralaya, when 3 planetary systems are inundated, Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Sargaloka, all the living entities are completely vanished. Now recreation has to take place. Lord Brahma was informed, my dear Brahma, do something. So Brahma thought that already I did once. We vapas kyu karu? So he looked around. Daksha was performing tapasya in order to become Prajapati, because he just recently born as the son of 10 Prachitas. He was performing austerities for so long. He wanted to become the Manasaputra Brahma, the same powers. So Lord Brahma called him, my dear son, I will give you all the powers. You do creation on my behalf. Daksha began to create through his mystic potency, but creation is not going as he expected. Then he performed tapasya. Lord Vishnu came and gave a wife. In order to produce creation in huge term, like very fast, he begot 10,000 sons at one go. अभी एक पुत्र से एक पुत्र आएगा, 10,000 सन्स में तो एक ही बार 10,000 लोग आएगा ना, 10,000 like that बार बार आएंगे, तो जल्दी सृष्टि बढ़ेगा. So but Narada Muni came and destroyed his plans. So this time he created 1,000 sons. Again Narada Muni destroyed his plans. So Daksha became frustrated. So मैं तो मेरा पिताजी का सेवा कर रहा हूँ, नारद मुनि आके डिस्टर्ब कर रहे हैं. So गुस्सा होके थोड़ा सा जल्दी बालजी में बोल दिया. So that is the whole thing. So like that. So Samsiddhim Nabalate Naram indicates the perfection of karma yoga practiced by grihasthas, by the 4 varnas. This is called karma yoga. So how they attain perfection? Next verse. How can actions which are said to be cause of bondage, as Four Kumaras mentioned, lead to steadiness in jnana, which is meant for giving perfection, which is meant to give moksha, which is the cause of liberation from bondage? The Lord then explains that this can happen by particular intelligence in the action. People perform same activities only, but when they perform in a particular way, the same activities which are the cause of bondage can give rise to liberation. So what is that? Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tata swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tata. Yata pravrittir bhutanam indicates that from whom all these varnas and ashramas have been created, from whom this universe has been created. Yena sarvam idam tata. Who pervades the entire universe and maintains the universe and allows that the activities will go on in this universe. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha. From your respective activities, from your varna and ashrama activities, worship that person who had created this universe, who had created this varna system, who is maintaining this universe. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindanti manava. By doing that, the karma yogis can attain perfection of their karma. That karma becomes nishkama karma yoga. When it becomes karma yoga, swakarmana tamabhyarcha. When one worships the Supreme Lord by the results obtained by one's varnashrama duties, that karma becomes karma yoga. Because now it is connected to Supreme Lord by offering the results to Supreme Lord. So by executing one's duties, one's varna duties in one's gross order, they can attain the perfection of either kuch nahi. Abhyarcha means performing, worshipping. Archana. Abhi archana. The worship consists of offering the work in the mind, thinking that by this work may the Lord be satisfied. So they should think like this and offer all the results to Supreme Lord. Then that work becomes Nishkama Karma Yoga. Prabhuji.
That means only Nishkam Karma Yoga is there. There is no term called Sakam Karma Yoga. Because in Nishkam Karma only, the result is
offered to Supreme Lord. Yes. Everywhere, if you see the translations, it is always written, in the commentaries, it is written Sakama Karma. When it comes to Sakama Karma, it is written Sakama Karma only. When it comes to Nishkama Karma, they write Nishkama Karma Yoga. Humans attain perfection by worshipping through their prescribed work, Him alone, Tamabhyarcha, the Supreme Lord from whom arise the activities of all living entities, all varnashrama duties. From the Lord arises all the living entities, from Him the whole universe is pervaded. Worshipping that Lord who is situated at the soul of all the devatas, such as Indra, by one's activities. Because it is by Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu only, we are getting all the facilities, utilizing which will be able to perform all the activities of our Varna or Ashrama. Without the cooperation of devatas, we will not be able to perform our Varnashrama duties. So we need to remember that. Offering the acts to Him after performing them by thinking, may the Lord be satisfied with the act, men attain steadiness in jnana. They perform activities as per their psychophysical nature, as per their Varna or Ashrama, then they offer the results to the Supreme Lord.
Just thinking like if some loss obtained is there, like your 2 days, we can offer take job. How this result is.
Okay, I'll give you one Vedic example, not contemporary Vedic example, in order to explain this. It is mentioned in the Vedic literature, commentary, many times Acharyas have quoted this. By following Varnashrama duties, Varna duties prakka as a grasa, if somebody dies as a grasa at the end of life, having performed their Varna duties very properly, very genuinely, very nicely, they are entitled to go to Swarga after death. A grasa after performing their Varna duties properly, as per they are ordained in the Vedic literature, giving charities and following Vartas, vows, etc., etc., whether they want it or not, they are entitled to go to Swarga and enjoy the opulence of Swarga. But if they know that they will go to Swarga, but they deny that opportunity, then they will become qualified to practice jnana, and then they can attain moksha eventually. There is some lesser result is offered to you. You don't accept it. Then you become qualified to get some higher result. If you accept it, the result of your endeavor is exhausted. Then again you have to endeavor again more and more.
And then he take birth in a place where he can perform jnana.
No, यही life में कर सकते हैं. Before death, giving up grihastha ashram, takes to renunciation, becoming vanaprastha or sannyasa, practices jnana completely wholeheartedly. In the same lifetime, he can attain perfection also if he is completely purified and attain detachment. Otherwise, one has to endeavor for multiple lifetimes.
Performing this activity, that psychophysical nature develops. So, it is very subtle and abstract thing, na? To understand it, like we here give our home here, we are
Okay, right.
I want to understand.
No, I'll give you the contemporary example as you mentioned. For all of us, we have come to Brahmachari ashram. What inspired us to come to here? No, not for Brahmachari point of view. In general, to come to Patha Bhakti also. We heard that by practicing Bhakti, there is a purification of the heart, and we will be able to render service to Supreme Lord without any selfish motive, without any ulterior motives. So eventually, one day, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, we will be qualified to go home back to God and serve the Lord. Okay? That was inspired us to take up the process of Bhakti very sincerely. Some might be practicing as brahmacharis, some other might be practicing as grihasthas. There is no problem. Either way, one can practice Bhakti. But inspiration is to purify our existence and go home back to Godhead. Okay? That we have understood in the beginning only. From Vedic Varnashram system, in Gurukul, when they go to Gurukul, the Guru teaches what to do, what not to do, by doing what one will get. They've already studied, they've already understood. In Grihastha order, there are pros and cons. If you become attached to results, you will be bound. You will continue to take birth again and again in this material world. If you perform your activities in Grihastha order with Nishkama mentality, offering them to Supreme Lord, that becomes Nishkama Karma Yoga, eventually you will purify your heart of all the material desires. Then you become qualified to practice Jnana. They know it. But in spite of knowing, if they do not endeavor for Jnana, but if they live very religious life for the entire life, they are qualified to go to Swarga. If they don't endeavor to become Jnanis and practice Jnana, they go to Swarga and enjoy, come back. But in the same lifetime, having understood what to do, what not to do, they take up to renunciation at the age of 50 or 55, whatever, according to our time scale, and then practice Jnana seriously, they can attain moksha. The preliminary knowledge is there in the Gurukul only. It is given. It is not that they are practicing without any knowledge. Just like all of us also come to Bhakti with some knowledge. And we are trying to enhance our understanding more and more by hearing our regular, by performing our sadhana, by hearing some programs, etc. So same thing they also do. So in that way. All these varnas who appeared along with their occupations from the universal form faithfully worship the Lord as their Guru by performing their duties for the purpose of purification of their existence. Ete varna swadharmena yajanti swa gurum harim shraddhayatma vishuddhartam shraddhaya atma vishuddhartam, for the purpose of purifying their self. Yaj yajeti saha vrittibi, they are supposed to worship that Lord by their varnashrama duties. Since the varnas appeared along with their occupations, thus in worshipping the Lord, one should not be worried about obtaining one's livelihood. So one should not worry about if I offer all the results to Supreme Lord, what will happen to me in the future? No problem. Lord will take care. Yogakshemam vahamiham. Because the duties of the Kshatriyas and others are composed of the lower gunas, people losing taste for those duties should perform the duties of the Brahmanas in Sattva-guna. So now, Lord Krishna coming to the Arjuna. Arjuna was saying that, no. My duties of Kshatriya are involving violence, that too killing my guru and grandfather. I don't want to do. The duties of a renunciate are very nice. The duties of a Brahmana are very nice. So let me become renunciate and practice those duties which do not have any violence. Like that, either Arjuna or person like Arjuna can pose a question. Then Lord Krishna says that no problem, don't think like that. Shreya swadharmo viguna paradharma swanushrita swabhava niyatam karma kurtum napnoti kuruvan napnoti kilbisham. Don't worry about the faults in your varna duties, because you are expected to perform your varna duties because you have acquired those qualities as per your past life impressions. So it is better to perform your own duties with so many faults than performing somebody else's duties without any mistakes. That is actually not good. Even with faults also you perform your activities, no problem, you will attain perfection eventually. Because that is how the universe is created. If you thinking that, okay, let me become a sannyasi and live by begging, that is against your mentality, by which you will not be able to attain perfection. Instead, you will be subjected to performing sin. Sin here, twofold sin. One is not performing your duty and performing somebody else's duty. It is either way sinful, not good for you. Better, though it is having so many faults, perform your duty. So you think your duty is only having fault? Vaishya's duties also have fault. They speak lies in business. Brahmanas also have fault. While performing sacrifice, they need to cut the throat of an animal. Gomeda sacrifice, Ashwamedha sacrifice, etc. That is also fault. But scriptures say that for a Brahmana, offering an animal in the sacrifice is not a fault. For a Kshatriya, killing an envious person, killing opposite party is not a fault. By killing that, you are enabled that person to go to Swarga. It is not at all fault. You are not subjected to sin. So like that, do your duties, though they are filled with fault. How? Wait till the smoke subsides. Then you will effects of fire, which will give you light and heat. Something like that. As a Grasa, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra performed their Varna duties very properly as an offering to Supreme Lord. Now they have become qualified to practice Jnana. So now Lord Krishna says that the aspirant for liberation, because a person will be able to perform all these activities and offering to Supreme Lord only if they have a desire to attain liberation. So that person is called Arurukshu. If you remember 6th chapter, Yoga Rukshu, Yoga Ruda. Karma is means to progress for a Yoga Rukshu, and cessation of karma is means for a Yoga Ruda. The aspirant for liberation, a Sanishta, fixed in doing his duties after having realized his Swarupa by being fixed in karma, which contains jnana within it, should give up completely that level of karma, giving up the gross order and entering into Vanaprastha or Sannyas order. That is explained in the next verses. That means having perfected one's karma yoga, one should give him karma yoga. That means giving up all the duties of gross order. Then one should enter into renounced order, either Vanaprastha or Sannyasi, and then wholeheartedly practice the activities of jnana 24/7. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spruha naishkarme siddhim paramam sannyasena adhigacchati. One can attain the perfection of as per one's desire in order to attain liberation. One should take the shelter of sannyasa. Here sannyasa indicates both varna, vanaprastha and sannyasa. Take to renunciation. How? Asakta buddhi sarvatra. In the grihastha order, the mind may wander. The intelligence may make plans to acquire this one, acquire that one, acquire that one. So many things. There may be so much endeavor required to accumulate so many things as per the requirement of the grihastha order. But now, asakta buddhi sarvatra. The buddhi does not focus on any other thing except on moksha. Jitatma, having kept mind under complete control. Now mind does not make any proposals. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. No other proposals, only I want mukti. Vigata spruha, having lost focus on all the material things. Now spruha, the consciousness is only about moksha. No interest in this material facilities. Naishkarma siddhim, one will attain the perfection of naishkarma. Here naishkarma refers to having given up all the karma, having taken to renounce order, and perfection of that order will be obtained eventually. So in the next verse, Lord Krishna says that, now I will tell you everything in brief. Kindly listen. Siddhim prapto yata brahma tatapnoti nibodame samaseneva kaunteya nishta jnanasya yapara. Now I will tell you in brief how, having attained the perfection of Nishkama Karma Yoga, that of grihastha order, having taken to sannyasena adhigacchati, renounced order, vanaprastha or sannyasa, now by practicing jnana, how does they attain perfection? I will tell you that process of jnana in brief. Next 3 verses, Lord Krishna explains the process in brief. Whatever he mentioned in the previous chapters elaborately, now he briefly summarizes. Having worshipped Lord Hari by one's prescribed actions and having attained renunciation of all actions, one attained the level of meditation on Atma through the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So being situated in that process, one realizes one's Swarupa endowed with 8 qualities. Brahma apnoti. The 8 principal qualities of Atma are indicated many places in the previously Bhagavad Gita. He becomes sinless. These are the 8 qualities. What is the acquirement of Atma Jnana? The person becomes sinless, ageless, deathless, without grief, without hunger, without thirst, without thirst, and becomes completely blissful, and all his desires are instantly fulfilled. No. Now he has given up his activities as a householder. He has taken to renunciation. Eventually, when we comes to Brahmabhuta platform, the perfection state, then he realizes that he is not body anymore. He has nothing to do with the body. He is Atma himself. So then he realizes that these are the 8 qualities or 8 characteristics of the Atma. Atma is sinless. Atma is ageless. Atma is deathless. Atma is without grief. Atma is without hunger. Atma is without thirst. Atma is blissful. Anandamayo abhyasat. And Atma's desires are instantly fulfilled. Currently, we are identifying with our body. So, we are sinful. We are age. We are subjected to age. We are death. We are subjected to death. We are subjected to grief, hunger, thirst. We are subjected to misery. And our desires are not fulfilled immediately. We need to endeavor. It is there in the one of the Upanishad shloka. So here about the conclusions of knowledge concerning the Lord, etc. So basically, now I will tell you the method, please listen to it. The method and the perfection of that method, both I will tell you in brief, not in detail. Lord Krishna already spoke in detail everything. Now he is briefly summarizing. So in 3 verses, Lord Krishna tells the process of Jnana Yoga. How the Jnanis, having renounced their household responsibilities, having taken to Vanaprastha or Sannyasa, what kind of sadhana they follow. This is their sadhana. The sadhana of the Jnanis. What is prescribed in chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 is briefly summarized here. All those Jnana section. Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto Dhrutatmanam Niyamyacha Shabdadin Vishayan Tektva Ragadveshav Vidasacha Vivikta Sevi Lagvasi Yata Vak Kaya Manasa Dhyana Yogo Paro Nityam Vairagyam Samupashrita Ahankaram Balandarpam Kamam Krodam Parigraham Vimuncha Nirmama Shanto Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So this is sadhana. From here to here it is sadhana. And from here to here it is result. This is goal. Santo Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate is the result. And this is sadhana. What is sadhana? Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto. By keeping one's buddhi in Vishuddhi, Sattva. By keeping one's intelligence in pure state. And matlab under complete control. Dhritatmanam. By keeping one's determination in mode of goodness. Lord Krishna talks about Dhriti in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance in the 18th chapter in the beginning portion. Bringing that to mode of goodness, keeping mind under control. Niyamyacha, by following so many rules and regulations. Shabdadin Vishayan Taktva, giving up desire to enjoy the sense objects. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Shabdadin refers to all the 5 tanmatras. Keeping all the desires for the enjoying sense objects away. Vishayan Taktva. Raga Dvesha Udasacha. Attachment and repulsion. These are the 2 dualities which keep living entity in this material world. Icha Dvesha Samuttena Dvanda Mohena Bharata. Icha and Dvesha will keep a living entity under Moha. Because of that Moha, a jiva is bound in this material world. So this person is supposed to become free from Raga and Dvesha. Raga is attachment, Dvesha is aversion. Vivikta Sevi, living alone. Vivikta Sevi refers to living in seclusion. Not too much attachment with materialistic people. People attached with material desires. Lagvasi, eating little. A Jnana Yogi is supposed to follow austerities, tapasya. So eat little, just to sustain the body and soul together, so that one can practice sadhana. Yata vak kaya manasa. Keeping one's walk, words, kaya, body, and mind focused on attainment of moksha, not other things, not on other things. Dhyana yoga paro nityam. They should be focused on dhyana yoga. Only meditation on Atma. No other thought. Nothing else. Vairagyam samupashita. Having taken shelter of detachment completely. Samupashita means completely, 100% taking shelter of vairagya. No more attachment to acquire material possessions for the purpose of enjoyment. No more, nothing to do with this material world. Ahankaram, giving up false identity. And giving up the association of those things which enhance one's ahankara. What are those things which enhance one's ahankara? Balam, physical strength. I am strong, I am the enjoyer. Ishwaroham, aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. A person who is physically strong always want to enjoy more and more. This enhances one ahankara. And nirmama, mamatva. Wait. Mamatva is I and mine. So I am this, I need to enjoy this, I need to enjoy this. They also boost one's ahankara. And when these things are not completely satisfied, they result in darpam. Darpam is false ego. Kama, material desire. Krodha, anger. Parigraha, possessiveness. All these things actually increase one's ahankara. So vimuncha, keep all those things away, which are increasing one's ahankara, keep them at a far distance. So by practicing this sadhana very diligently, eventually one becomes peaceful. Santo means completely peaceful. And then Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One understands that one is Atma. One will have complete Atma realization, self-realization. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One comes to Brahman platform. So this is the result of practicing this sadhana in toto. Eventually, a jnana practitioner, by taking shelter of yoga, dhyana yoga, etc., will come to the point of Brahman platform. Will understand that he is not the gross body, he is not the subtle body, he is not the mind which is proposing so many desires till now. He is not Hankara which is giving so many false identifications. He is Atma endowed with all the 8 qualities. Sinless, ageless, miseryless, etc. etc. So that person is peaceful like an ocean without waves. I'll tell you one thing. So whatever has been mentioned in these 3 verses, especially the Shanto, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, all the other things are also there in the 2nd chapter. If you see, look back into 2nd chapter, same things are mentioned in the 2nd chapter. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudra mapa pravishanti yadvat. So that verse also gives the details about, and the next 2 verses also talks about Esha Brahme Sita Partha. Last verse talks about Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. In between one more verse is there that talks about Shanto. That comes much before, but basically whatever Lord Krishna is speaking in the 18th chapter is nothing but repetition of what he has told in the beginning. The same things he also mentions in the 3rd chapter little bit, 4th chapter little bit, 5th chapter little bit, 6th chapter little bit, like kind of all those things are kind of summarized now here. If you correlate back and forth, you will get one-on-one explanation everywhere. So
This is Sthita Prajna state, right?
Yes, Sthita Prajna state. Yes, Sthita Prajna state. So with the cessation of ignorance, characterized by freedom from ahankara, of pride, lust, anger, and possessions, there is also the cessation of sattva-guna. So now, wait. So listen, wait. So the final position he is here. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate means this is the pinnacle of mode of goodness. One important aspect which Bhagavatam talks about it elaborately. Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga, they are all part of mode of goodness. So coming to Brahma Bhuta platform by the practitioner of Jnana, or coming to Samadhi by the practitioner of Ashtanga Yogi, it is the pinnacle of Sattva-guna. The topmost point of Sattva-guna. The result is one understands one is Atma, not the gross body, not the subtle body. Then they need to jump from the pinnacle of Sattva-guna, then they need to enter into Vishuddha Sattva. Then what they are supposed to do there, what they will do, then what they will attain is explained in the next 2 verses. That is where they attain liberation. By the practice of jnana or by the practice of yoga, they will come to the platform of they are Atma. They will realize that they are Atma, but they will not get moksha just by practicing jnana or yoga. They need to do something more than that by entering into Vishuddha Sattva platform. That what they are supposed to do, how they are supposed to do, is explained in the next 2 verses. So I'll take your question. One, I'll read this, then I'll not take next verse, but this I'll just complete this. With the cessation of ignorance, characterized by freedom from ahankara, pride, lust, anger, and possessions, there is also the cessation of sattva-guna. By these things, sattva-guna also is kind of destroyed. This is the achievement of jnana sannyasa, giving up jnana itself. One should offer all jnana unto me. At this point of time, on the pinnacle of Sattva-guna, the jnanis have to give up jnana, the yogis have to give up yoga, then they need to jump into Shuddha Sattva. Without the cessation of both ignorance and knowledge, there can be no attainment of Brahman realization. Being freed from all this, it is possible to realize Brahman. The Brahman realization is only possible when they give up jnana, yoga, and mode of Sattva-guna. When they enter into Shuddha Sattva, then only they will be able to realize Brahman. So how do they realize Brahman? Will be explained in the next 2 verses that we will discuss in the next class. Yes, Prabhu.
Vasudevan Sarvamiti, they will come to know when they are.
Vasudevan Sarvamiti for devotees.
So here, when it is connected of Jnana Yoga, he will understand that I am Atma. But he will not understand what is Brahma.
No.
So
that understanding will come only in Shuddha Sattva platform. Realization will come only in the Shuddha Sattva platform.
My question is that before starting the symptoms of Siddha Pragya in the second chapter, the Buddhi Yoga and with that Oleg Nishkan Karma Yoga one way attain Samadhi. Samadhona Vidhiyate. Then Arjuna asked question, what is the symptom of the person who is in Samadhi? Then Lord explained all the symptoms of the Siddha Pragya.
If you see 2 verses before that, by practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, one becomes qualified to practice Jnana. By practicing Jnana, one comes to Samadhi state. That Lord Krishna summarized in 2 verses. Lord Krishna asks question. Then Lord Krishna explains, Arjuna asks question, Lord Krishna explains the nature of Samadhi by explaining the Siddha Prajna verses. In the previously, 2-3 verses talks about how to transcend from Nishkama to Jnana. But last 2 verses are entering into Jnana and attaining perfection of Jnana. Then they come to Samadhi. So it is like that. That final state is Siddha Prajna. That is elaborated in the remaining verses. So these verses, actually this section is talking about traditional process, which has Bhakti secondarily, but which is not Bhakti main. We will discuss about Bhakti from verse number 56 to 63. That portion is all about Bhakti. So this is all about following Nishkama Karma Yoga. Then they become qualified to practice Jnana Yoga. Then taking shelter of Ashtanga Yoga, they come to the platform of Jivan Mukta or Samadhi. Then at the end, they need to give up that Jnana, that Yoga, that Sattva Guna. Then they need to go into Shuddha Sattva platform. There they need to practice Bhakti. That Bhakti will enable them to realize Brahman. With Brahman realization, they will attain Sayujya Mukti. So that will be explained in the next 2 verses. That will be discussed in the next class.
Very good. Any question?
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.